the Nerd Show. Podcast Radio. She's a nerd, he's a nerd, talking about what we know. Nerd Podcast Radio. We're all nerds, we're all nerds, buckle up, cause here we go. Nerd Podcast Radio. Welcome everybody to the Nerd Podcast Radio. Welcome everybody to the Nerd Podcast Radio.
Welcome to Nerd Podcast Radio, your nerd home away from home.
Welcome to Nerd Podcast Radio. I'm your host, Super Vicky Brian, joined by Kirsty Smurfherka.
Hola.
Introduced you first.
I know you did. Thank you. That was so nice.
David D. About the third.
I'm going to have to review my contract.
And we have a guest today. So I had to explain this to Erica because Erica wasn't on the last episode we had with this guest, but we did Minecraft. We did a couple of Minecraft episodes, and Paulbo Baggins is with us today. Hi, Paulbo.
Hola.
Paulbo, I'll let you do your short introduction, and then I'll tell everybody how I know you.
Okay. So I'm Paul, also known as Paulbo Baggins, Paulbo_Baggins, or Pablo, if you prefer. That's the general misreading of my username, but I am a person. I do things on the internet.
Wait, you are?
What?
I know it comes as a shock. I know you guys thought you were. I know you guys thought you had an alien on today. I hate to break it to you. I am but a human.
That's okay. I've been disappointed by worse.
I don't have the soundboard up and running yet, but I wanted to run some kind of disintegration sound or something.
There is. Maybe I'm secretly just a duck.
I met Paulbo through our
I don't think this is
through the Minecraft server we both play on. Paulbo was super nice to me when we first met, offered me a tour of the server, was super nice, and then showed up one day and psychologically tortured me with horrible pranks. And then I spent the next year and a half planning revenge and recorded it.
What revenge it was.
Well, it wasn't. I always
about Brian is he never forgets. Never forgets, and he will get you when you think he is completely moved on.
Brian is very Klingon.
Moved on. He reminded me on a regular basis that revenge was coming.
Well, Erica knew something about this. So I specialize in revenge and pranks where the victim participates in setting it up. And you helped me build the part of my base that was all planned as part of the prank. And when you found out, you were like, "You're diabolical." Because we spent a good couple of hours putting frames down.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was man.
I think while we were doing it,
he convinced me that like it was part of his entire plan for his base. Like this was what his plan was for his base. And so I spent hours helping him set this up, and then I come back on another day and he gets me with the prank, and he's like, "Oh yeah, literally all of this was just to set this prank up on you."
I can tear it down now.
Brian, that light is blinking on the console again.
Oh, hi, Stolas. I don't think audio is working yet. I think we were too premature.
What's up?
Hey, there she is.
You can hear me now.
Yes, Sprint Dad from the mid-2000s.
Oh man, everybody missed my joke.
I'm sorry, Erica.
Yeah.
Brian said we were too premature, and I said that's what she said, and nobody heard me.
Oh, because you're short. Oh, you were muted.
No, I would. Shut your face.
Yeah, that was fun. But we can talk more about that at Nerdy Things because you are directly involved with my nerdy thing today. We're gonna be talking.
What?
So one of our patrons, Tribal Lion, was saying they were looking forward to this episode because we're doing planning for the future, and was like, "I really want to hear you guys talk about that." And I responded with, "We do this episode every year." And he said, "I've been listening for years and don't remember you doing that." We have done this before, right? Where we do the planning episode.
I want to say ish. We don't ever really get into it.
Right. You know? I think we've had episodes where we talked about like what we want to do in the future, but I don't think we've had like an episode where we've been like, these are our plans and how we're gonna there.
Well, this one isn't really that. It's sort of like, where do you see yourself in 5 years kind of thing. And I think we even had an episode named that before, and I don't know if
I think we've done stuff like that before. You know what?
Yeah.
I wonder how long ago that was. That would be really funny to go back, because it's very possible that it's been long enough that we can see where we are compared to then.
Yeah, the episode, the podcast is like we're like on what, our ninth year or something crazy like that,
Right. So there's a
or
potential that
eighth year.
there's an episode that was like, what do you expect will be happening in the next 4 or 5 years? And we could like actually respond to these answers.
Well, I mean, if your answer probably had something to do with hentai, considering your sense of humor back then.
Who knows?
Has your sense of humor changed? Not that I know.
Tentacles, tentacles.
So we're going to be talking about all that, but first,
But first, we're going to play everybody's favorite game, What's Nerdy with You, where we all vote using the Mike Myler widget system after we talk about the nerdiest thing we've done in the last 2 weeks.
Ryan, the
Yay!
recording malfunctioned.
that was great. That was great. Erica, you're on fire.
Thanks.
But Tish.
Well, right now I'm editing our document because there's too many grammatical errors.
Yeah, it's expected. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I wrote Paulbo instead of Pablo.
Yeah, well, we have a tradition around here, and Paulbo, you're the guest. You go first.
That's
All
Let's
right.
go. Let's go, Pablo.
So my nerdy thing.
Hello.
It has been an interesting week. So we had last weekend a big snow and ice storm come through, and just coated everything, which, we get first couple weeks of January, we get a layer of snow and ice every year, because Kentucky. And so that happened last weekend.
Can I interject
And-
here real quick? Just real quick.
Go ahead.
I was making a joke about this on Facebook the other day, and I was like, and basically the idea was, I was like, your January in other states, and it's like snow and ice. And I was like, California's January, and it's like the city of LA on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's what
prescient how that was.
I avoided it, but I considered making a joke of like, yeah, I have the opposite problem fire right now. It's ice.
So
I'm from
tell
California.
people-
I can make the joke.
I live there. I can make the joke too, because I tell people all the time, especially when I lived in Ohio and it would snow and everything, they'd be like, "Oh, I bet winter's really great in California." And I was like, "Yeah, you might have snow here, but we had fire. Our snow was ash,
Yeah.
and it just built up everywhere."
I've shoveled ash with a snow
When
shovel.
it's ash on the ground, is it?
I've shoveled ash with a snow
Yep.
shovel before.
A
Yeah,
100%.
I read online a big part of it is because of all those eucalyptus trees that I guess a bunch of people bought a while ago. Like, I guess some people were like investing eucalyptus trees into California, but it takes a long time for them to like mature.
There was a British
guess-
man who brought the eucalyptus trees from Australia to California.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
doomed
I
us
guess
and doomed us
eucalyptus-
all.
I am a-
eucalyptus trees like release like fiery oils.
I'm going to rein this in real quick and get back to. I don't assume Paulbo's only rainy nerdy thing was that it
Yeah,
snowed.
I'm sorry. Sorry, it
Well,
was
so
a
my
small
rainy, sorry,
interjection.
I was trying to give some background. My nerdy thing is because it snowed. I went into work on Tuesday. I work at an airport, and I was fully expecting work to be dead. Nothing. I mean, snow and ice all over the runway, taxiway ramp. You can't fly, right? I proceeded to have one of the busiest days ever out of the 9 months that I've been there, because we are working on trying to redo our snow and ice removal plan. So I spent the entire day shopping for tractors. I grew up in a rural area. I know a lot of people who know a lot about tractors. I don't. So I have learned a lot over the last week about snow and ice removal, chemical and physical, for airports, because you can't just use ice melt because it's corrosive and it will ruin your airport surface. And so there's all kinds of really, really expensive chemical options or just physical. And then once we landed on we wanted to do physical, I learned a lot about tractors.
I was
So-
about to say,
Calcium's
to-
something that will like actually destroy cement, but it works really well.
Yeah. I also managed to grab this. We were cleaning out a closet at the airport. This is 1203, which is the like chemical identifier code, the fire hazard identifier code for aviation. And so I gotta
Oh.
find somewhere to hang that up. And
That's a cool
I'm
thing to have.
that's pretty neat.
If you would like to see the item that Paulbo has held up, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/nerdpodcastradio.
I'm
Nice,
working on
nice.
developing a collection of aviation stuff. I'll move my camera a little bit. I've got right back here old windsock that I
Oh,
stole
that's
from
what that
work because
is.
we replaced it. Yep, that's a windsock. So I'm one of these days I'm gonna get a taxiway light or a runway light and make a ramp out of it. But everybody else at work has been snatching them up. I've not
That'd be
managed to get
fun.
one yet.
I was gonna say though, about the tractor thing, if you're gonna go like the John Deere route, totally read into whatever like contract, whatever you're buying, because they have a lot of like really sneaky leaky, like you can't repair your own product stuff.
Yeah, it is weird. So first of all, it's weird because we're co-owned by 4 government entities, so we will be buying the tractor under a government contract, which gets us a lot cheaper. But then also we currently have a little compact tractor, which isn't going to do the job for us. It's not big enough, but it's a Kubota, and we really like our
Okay, so it
Kubota,
doesn't matter
we're
really who
looking at
you're
it right
working
now.
with because it's whatever the government wants.
Yeah, but it's a government contract. They'll order it next week and get it in 3
Yeah,
years.
exactly. Yeah.
Well,
Right.
it's a government contract, so we're getting it cheaper. But basically, it'll just be the airport that owns it. Fingers crossed,
Right.
whatever it is will not be a problem like that. We'll see.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Okay.
it'll show up in 7 different boxes and have to be assembled.
Right, that makes sense. If it's for an airport, it's like whatever. They're like, yeah, sure, John Deere that doesn't want us to
Yeah.
repair it. Fine, we'll send it to them anyways.
Yep. We've been having the same problem with our fuel trucks because they're all leased from our fuel service provider. One of them is leaking oil by the court, and we have not managed to get them to come out and fix it or take it and replace it.
Hey, it saves on
It's
routine
just like-
maintenance. You don't have to change the oil. It changes itself.
I mean, something like that.
I had a car that used to do that.
It's got 16 quarts. It can afford to lose 1 or 2.
You just got to top her up every now and then. You're fine.
Yep.
So, are you done, Paul?
I am done, yeah.
Who's up next? David.
Okay. Well, I didn't really do much nerdy other than try not to die. I got very, very sick over New Year's with the ick that's been going around, and I'm still now on the tail end of it. I mean,
We got the ick as well.
I'm fine for the most part, but this stupid cough is not going away, and the piss poor air quality of the LA basin is not helping.
Yeah, we got
What
the ick
is
as
an
well.
ick? Is it like COVID or is it just an unknown virus going around right now?
It's a really nasty cold/flu
Yeah,
that's
it's
going
like a
around
cold
that
flu
like
thing.
everybody's getting, and it's disgusting and nasty. Like my dad's got it now. I don't know if you can hear him over the mic, but he's hacking up a lung in the living room.
Ugh.
Yeah, lots of coughing and like it's kind of weird. Like most of the time, your nose will be like relatively dryish, and all of a sudden, like leaky faucet out of nowhere.
Yeah, for like 20 minutes, and then it dries back up again.
Note to
David,
self.
that's
don't
actually
visit-
really funny because my sister's currently hacking up a lung in our living room.
Yeah, and I don't know what the actual name for it is, and there's some people calling it a flu, some people are calling it a really bad cold. I just called it the ick, and everyone knows what I'm talking about.
I'm wondering if it's like a normal cold or a normal flu, but it's being exacerbated by like the smoke.
Well, I didn't really have any flu-like symptoms. I didn't have any stomach issues or any of that stuff, so I'm pretty sure it was just a really nasty cold.
Right.
I'm not like joking or doing a bit or anything, but when you first said you had the ick, so my
No, I
wife
did not have the fish disease.
my wife fish keeps I was like, you're not talking about that, obviously, in my head.
Oh, that's
But I
funny.
pictured little white spots.
Oh, that's funny, guys.
Yes, Brian, I'm secretly a fish.
Either that or I could have made a joke about like you just saw something that really turned you off.
Right, yeah. Like, you gave me the ick. Okay, but David, what was your actual nerdy thing then?
I managed to not die. I consider that a nerdy thing.
That's pretty nerdy.
I didn't really do much. I played a lot of WoW. I watched a lot of shit on YouTube because I wasn't going to work.
You did the
Oh,
shit we
really?
all do when we get sick. You
Yeah.
did nerdy stuff that you can do and then you don't when you can't.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of achievement hunting and other things in WoW I don't normally get to do because I'm not on all day anymore because I have a job. So when I wasn't going to job, I got to do because I had nothing else going on.
Nice.
Fair. Yeah. I'd probably do the same.
Erica, how about you?
I threw a New Year's Eve party. I don't know if that's nerdy, but we played games and drank and had fun and ate lots of delicious food.
What kind of games? That will determine if it's nerdy or not.
Like the kids played Kids Against Maturity, since clearly they can't play Cards Against Humanity because they're kids.
Mhm,
Well, I
mhm.
mean, they can. You just won't let them.
Hey, listen, my sister-in-law or my oldest sister works for a church, like the state leadership for a church, and she once played Cards Against Humanity with the entire church leadership team. So like,
Nice.
Jeez, that's risky.
Yes,
Hey,
but
who doesn't love throwing the biggest, blackest dick on the pile sometimes?
But
Especially
you
in
have
front of
to
your bishop's wife.
remember, I have a teenager who had friends over, and I had to.
Not piss off their parents.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's what they were playing. What were you playing?
We did a lot of talking and eating. I think some people played some Magic. I didn't get to play anything because I was
Ooh,
hosting, so I was always
right, that's
like,
fair. Okay, magic. There we go. Nerdy. Nerdy. Magic was
yeah.
involved, so I would call it nerdy.
Yep. Oh, lightsabers. A friend brought over lightsabers you can actually really hit each other with, not like toys. Like he paid hundreds of dollars for these
Nice.
Oh,
lightsabers.
like the nice ones. Yeah. Okay, see,
Yeah.
this is something nerdy.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
brought over
It's
three
nerdy
of
to me.
those. Yeah, so
Board games, TCG game, lightsabers. This does sound nerdy.
yeah.
Was there any examples of a rabbit hole rant?
I don't know. I was hosting.
You were
You
hosting.
have to remember I was hosting, so I was
If people were
What
drinking,
food? What
definitely.
food did you serve?
we had meatballs and barbecue sauce. I slow cooked a ham for 4 hours so that people could have sliders. So we
That
had
sounds
like
good.
Hawaiian buns with slow cooked ham for sliders. We had egg rolls, veggie egg rolls for our vegetarian people. We had gluten-free desserts. We had regular gluten desserts, fruits, veggie, cheese, crackers, salami. We made a big thing of hot cocoa in like a big warm carafe thing. So you like push the pump down to get the hot cocoa out for those that wanted cocoa. We had 3 different kinds of apple or hard cider and then, sodas. So
I wanna point out to everybody real quick, and I'm not doing this as a joke or anything, Erica. I want to say because when you host, it's no fucking joke.
I was like,
Eric,
yeah, that's a
when
lot of stuff.
Erica hosted D&D night, she pretty much did the same amount of prep.
mhm.
Yeah. Didn't you make lobster for a D&D night once?
Yes.
Or something? Yeah.
It was shrimp and lobster, yes.
Damn, this sounds like a dope party. Man, I wish I was there.
Any gathering is dope when Erica is involved.
Yeah, I made steaks. One time I made pork chops and apples, and it was really good. Like,
Erica, we need to get you out here when Grim and I redo the wedding, and you need to help.
yeah.
Oh, we're gonna be prepping the baby's first birthday soon.
Yep.
We're doing that this month.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Well,
that was my nerdy thing.
That
And
was
then
your first nerdy thing.
I got sick right after the party. Like I had the stomach flu or something. I don't know, but it was like 4 days of throwing up and it was awful. And in that time, I start to rewatch Penny Dreadful because I never finished the second and even watched the third season. So
Oh, that's something I've been planning on doing.
I've
Yeah.
never seen it at
Oh, you
all.
just got to get sick and then you can do it.
yeah, Penny Dreadful's really good. So I forgot
think
how
it-
much I loved
I've
it.
never
How
seen it.
yeah.
I've never seen it.
So yeah, those are my nerdy things. And we had like 20 people. It wasn't even like 5 or 10 people. There was like 20 people in my house. There were so many people in my house. It was crazy. So anyways, Stolas, you are next.
Sure. I also have 2 things, but they're not big things, so don't worry, it won't take a long time. So the first big thing is
My 2 things are big.
okay.
Do you need to
So-
see a doctor?
I was hoping someone would make that joke.
I got you.
I mean, if we are talking like things that are small, I like the boobies are small. They're still growing. Right now they're small.
But that's actually what I was referring to as 2 things.
Yeah.
They get bigger all the time.
We get
Better
bigger all the
than-
time. So the first thing, I built Grim, my spouse, a new computer.
Oh, yeah.
We got the case, we got the everything, and I built them a computer. Right now, actually, their computer is currently considerably better than mine. So I have a 6950 XT, which is an AMD card. That was like the top of the line graphics card for like last generation. Grim got the Power Color. I think it's like Gray Wolf. The 7900 XTX, which is the current best AMD graphics card you could get at the moment. So they are running, I think, the same amount of gigs, but I think their CUDA cores run at a far better rate. So yeah, we did everything. New CPU, new RAM, new just whole thing in a nice pretty black box, all the RGB gay shit. Yeah. And then
As a computer nerd, I'm gonna require you to share the full specs list, at least in the chat, because
yeah, we'll have to. Yeah,
I
I'll have to go get the. We went to Micro Center, so I'll have to go like look up exact
Nice.
for each part. Because we did a lot of bundles, so I don't remember 100% what every exact thing was.
Yeah, the Micro Center bundles are the way to go for sure. That's what
They're
did with
so
when I
good.
built my current. So
Yeah, they're so good. You save so much money on those bundles. Seriously, if
Yeah.
you have a Micro Center, go there and like check out their bundles because they generally are pretty good. Sometimes you might get a few stinkers that are like maybe they're trying to like get rid of some shitty like motherboards, but like
Yeah, check your motherboard because I was building an MATX build for a buddy and motherboard that they had paired was just
well,
terrible.
yeah, because sometimes they throw them in the bundles to either get load of to like get rid of like overstock or maybe something that's like an underperforming seller.
Share the specs on Discord when you got them.
Ah,
No
yeah,
rush.
I'll get them. And then the second thing is, well, like I said, was we're like planning our baby's first birthday. We're doing it a fairy theme because it's her very first birthday.
Oh, that's cute.
That's kind of like what I did with our New Year's party. I named our New Year's party the last minute New Year's Eve party.
That's so funny. Actually, so it was really funny. I went to go talk to my surgeon recently because oh yeah, I talked to a surgeon. I'm going to be getting like facial feminization surgery. So I had talked to somebody about like getting my scalp, the hairline like lowered.
Congrats.
And the nurse that was working at the front desk was like, "Hey, I heard you doing this like fairy themed birthday." Apparently, she like knows and works with some of the actresses that dress as like the Tinkerbell fairies at Disneyland. And she was like, "Call me. Maybe we can like set up a thing where they can privately show up. We do parties."
Oh, neat.
So we're gonna try to get the Tinkerbell fairies. And the part that I find really funny is so like just try to imagine what kind of food you would eat at like a fairy party. I'm just curious what you think entree wise you eat at a fairy party.
Stuffed mushrooms, something that's not cottage cheese but kind of looks like cottage cheese, and you can call it curds and whey, like fairy tale type stuff. In addition to like
A small
ice
basket
cream,
of rocks. Yeah.
I
ice
would have
cream
like
with
little
edible glitter
tiny
on it,
meat pies and little tiny fruit pies.
and put edible glitter on everything,
Yeah.
and
My
make
brain
like a
immediately went to
punch.
morals.
Make like a punch with that, like I can't think of what it's called, but it's basically edible glitter for liquid.
No,
And
we're gonna go the opposite direction. So Grimm is like a quarter Armenian. So they have a lot of like Middle Eastern like roots and family members. So we're gonna get like some Middle Eastern food catered.
I mean, you
well,
could do
you've
that.
just put glitter on everything.
Tell the
Tiny
caterer
meat
I want
kebabs.
everything glitter.
I don't know.
Tiny meat kebabs.
It depends on where in the Middle East, but the fairy-like creatures are probably more like jinn.
Yeah. So yeah, those are kind of my fun things. How about you, super vegan Brian?
Yay.
You don't eat anymore.
I have a restricted diet that includes some aspect of vegetarianism. I am not 100% vegan. The whole story, people have heard it, blah, 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 blah. Super stands for superfluous. But we're not changing the nickname. But I have been a vegan for long periods of time, but haven't been for some time because my wife was told medically that it would be really, really good if she could include fish in her diet. And I was like, well, my veganism wasn't for ethical reasons. It was for, just lifestyle reasons. And I was like, I can add fish back in. And I did it because it was easier.
Oh,
And
Brian, I was just joking with you.
I'm so offended, Stolas. Oh my God. Oh my God, Stolas. I'm so offended.
I'm telling.
Stolas, I hope you can recognize the tone. I love you.
No,
That's
I offended you. I must apologize profusely. Okay, so what was your nerdy thing?
Kiss my fucking feet, bitch.
Wow. Wow.
My nerdy thing was a whole thing I had planned as of yesterday to share. And then thanks to Paulbo, it got thrown out the fucking window. So I get a message on Discord that says, by the way, 3 different people on the server are wandering around your base. And I'm like, okay. And I look on Discord and they're streaming it. So I watched the stream and I had a nice little conversation with them. And I asked one of the members to kill Paulbo so I can get his head in my collection.
Yeah, he did. And then he promptly ran away, logged out in midair, logged back in. Like I was
Not me,
trying
the
so
guy
hard to
who
trap him.
killed. I
No,
wasn't
the
playing.
guy who killed me because Brian wasn't on. He proceeded to just like keep logging out and logging back in, so I couldn't trap where he logged out. And eventually he flew up above the build limit. And it really pissed me off because I was ready to take my revenge. But
So wait a
then
minute.
he also go ahead.
You can collect people's heads in Minecraft?
we
With
have
the
a
data
mod.
pack. We have a
Data pack.
data pack, yeah. That allows that to happen because like Minecraft has a head system built in, and you can add tags to them to have it assigned to like anybody, and so they just have a data pack that makes it so that one drops, you kill somebody.
Yeah,
but yeah.
our data pack also lets us get heads from different mobs in the game too that normally you wouldn't be able to.
And there's different rarities assigned to all the different mobs based on how common the mob is. I think I spent a week once and killed over 2,000 cows trying to get a cow head on it or something because
I am up to almost 5,000 and haven't gotten one yet.
holy cow.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of holy cows. But yeah, I had, while everybody was on, I was like, I'm taking advantage of this because all these people are here. Here are my ideas for this area. Please share your ideas. But it was fun. It was such a surprise. So thanks for doing that, Paulbo. It was nice to watch everybody on stream and chat with everybody. And then at the end of the stream, Paulbo was like, I have a bunch of pictures of planes I've been collecting to share on the podcast. And I was like, well, we're recording today. So that's how that happened. So originally my nerdy thing was just going to be I've been watching Creature Commando. So this was much better.
So, funny thing, EVE Online, when I played, also had a system where you can kind of keep people's heads as trophies. If you blew up someone's ship, what would be left would be like a little capsule where their body would be, and they could like try to warp away. If you happen to kill that little capsule, you could collect their body and like hold it in your hull, so people would like collect the corpses of all the people they've killed in the game.
Yeah, it tracks. It tracks.
Nicholas, have you talked about Eve before this podcast?
About who?
Off and on.
Eve
Oh,
Online.
about Eve? Yeah, I've mentioned it a few times.
I'm you're breaking my brain a little. I'm trying to find the episode so I can
It
Wow.
may
talk about
have
it.
been
So there's-
much a long time ago.
Yeah, there's a different podcast that I listened to that they did an episode about EVE Online, and they did an episode about this massive battle that happened a couple of back in I think 2013.
It was
And-
talked about it.
Oh,
at
I think I
one
was
point.
in that one. I think I was in that battle.
I'm trying to find the episode because I know that they have the planet that it was on title, and I can't find it. It doesn't matter that much. It's just it threw me for a loop because you were talking about Eve with like almost the like exact same inflection the person who was on their podcast, and I was like, wait a second, what?
That's funny. But yeah, that's it. That's pretty cool, Brian. I like your head collecting story. And Paul, how are you gonna get your revenge?
We'll see. It was after it was pointed out to Brian ordered the killing. There might be coming, which is actually easier because the guy who killed me is Australian, so we're very in time.
I can just pay you instead if you want.
Yeah, but that's less fun.
I'll be AFK online later. You can just prank me while I'm AFK. It'll be fine.
It's the Battle of B5RB.
Oh, okay. I don't remember if I was at that one.
Well, we are ready for voting. There are 5 of us, so 6 widgets each. Paulbo, you have 6 widgets. Who do you get into?
Well, I'm gonna start out. David didn't die, so I think that does.
For sure.
Yay!
That's a widget.
How many widgets do I get?
You have 5 more.
6.
I have 6 total. Okay, I'm gonna give 2 to Erica and the other 3 to.
Yay! Who's next?
David.
Yes, me.
I got
Let's see.
distracted by Erica's editing of the outline, and I didn't catch the rest of the points.
Wow. All right.
I got 2, and Solus
2
got
to Erica, the 3 to.
Okay,
Solus. You
okay.
don't get any because you killed me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that works. I love how Erica. No, well, I'm looking at it, and I see Erica typing "ordered an assassination" in the outline.
Well, I saw that and it read for a second like ordered an ass, and I was like,
Well, it's worse than an ass. It's an assassination. David.
Yes. Let's see. 6 widgets. I'm going to give Erica 2 of them because she scares me.
All right.
I'm going to give Paulbo 2 of them, and I'm going to give Stolas 2 of them because new computers are awesome.
They are. There's fun.
Erica.
I'm giving all 6 widgets to Brian for ordering an assassination because I think that's hilarious.
It is
Aw.
pretty funny. It is pretty funny.
Um, I
Let you know whose side you're taking.
I literally just sent a message to him on Discord. It was like, "Hey, do you mind killing Paulbo real quick and getting the head for me?" And it happened in like 30 seconds after I typed that message.
So it was some grand conspiracy.
The worst thing about it is I was in free cam, so like my camera and my point of view is separate from my body, and he could have just killed me and it would have happened, is what it is. No, he had to be like, "Hey Paulbo, come out of free cam for a second." And I come out and he's standing right behind me. He'd taken his elytra off, put a chest plate on, had an axe on him. I had all my armor off to showcase off the skin, and 2 swipes was done.
He was like, "Wait a minute,
I don't know that
doing this with
dude,
honor."
but that was awesome. That was good on him.
So,
That's
Paulbo,
what you do.
you're telling me
the honorable way.
you're telling me you fell victim to one of the classic blunders. The most well known is never get involved in a land war in Asia.
Well, when Paulbo was talking about who to get revenge on, really the reason to be like, well, Brian ordered the hit, so I'll get him. It's more like it's usually not a good idea to start a prank war with Crimson because Crimson will destroy the server to get you back.
Crimson has an entire business. Like he sells.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is usually not a great.
Oh wow,
Great
he's that good.
Step 7
This
diamond
is the
blocks.
Crimson that's on our Discord.
Yeah.
He's that good.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
one that has an interesting shaped shop. It's a tower with a minaret at the top.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's very mushroomish.
I gotta go look at that.
A very tall, thin tower
I
with
get
a
it.
minaret at
I
the top.
get it.
Yes.
It is phallic in nature.
It's like-
And Crimson didn't know until I mentioned it on the podcast, and I got a message from him after we had the podcast episode and talked about it.
Funny thing is, Brian mentioned it in the bonus episode, so
Yeah.
Crimson had to scribe. Like we said, we
Oh,
were gonna
yeah,
mention
paid
something about
money.
his base, and he was like, "I paid money to find out that my shop looks like a."
That's funny. All right, Brian, your last one to vote.
I'm going
I
to
didn't
give
vote.
Stolas the chance to vote.
Oh, sorry, Stolas, I forgot. You didn't vote yet.
It's okay. I'm gonna give 1 to Brian and David.
Aw.
Survival's great, and assassinations are also great. I'm gonna give 2 to Erica because she scares me. No, actually, it's not because she scares me. I think the level at which you put into like hosting a party like borders beyond just, oh, you're a good host. It is a nerdy thing in itself.
I didn't even tell you that we spent 3 days cleaning the house. I scrubbed baseboards of my house to clean my
Yeah,
house.
see that
I
comes
thought you were
off
talking about.
yeah.
I thought you were talking about after the party. I was like, man, a rager. Okay.
Oh no, I'm not a rager. No,
No,
I just
know.
I cleaned my house top to bottom. My kids helped me. My nephew helped me so that
She's
it was
not a rager anymore.
anymore. There was a time where there were many a nights I don't know how I got home, but that's a different story. You can
And then
only
I'm
do that in your 20s.
that-
Once you start hit 30, you can't do that shit anymore.
Was that all of them, Stolas?
And then 2 to Paulbo because, looking into tractors is its own interesting nerdiness, mechanical engineering and all that.
The first call I made, I must look like an idiot to that salesman. Holy cow. Because I was just like talking to him and he was like, "Oh, do you want this? Do you want this?" And I was like, I need a tractor, man. I need to be able to move some snow and ice.
Oh man, I would have started with ChatGPT. I would have started and just been like, hey,
I can't believe I
if
didn't
I'm
think of
looking
that.
at clearing an airport, what type of tractor do I need? What features would I be looking for that would be optimal for this?
Yeah, you can even tell
Well, I had-
ChatGPT, like, what question should I ask the salesman?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I had called a couple airports around, and they were like, "Oh yeah, these are the tractors we." And so I had an idea of like what type of tractor we wanted, but he kept asking us questions about the specific features and the different. I have no.
Yeah. That's why I would start with ChatGPT. If I know nothing about a subject, I start there and
That's a
then
good idea.
I go from there. Yeah.
I've never once touched ChatGPT. I hate it so much. I don't even want to use it. I hate its existence.
I have a subscription. I actually pay for it because it is a lot of my job is figuring out different ways to say the same thing. And it is a really good jumping off point to get creative juices flowing. So I use it for a lot of things. I use it for stupid stuff like when I had the stomach flu, I was like, I took Zofran at this time. What is the earliest time that I can take Zofran again so that I don't have to do the math?
My spouse just let me know that they use it at work too. Okay.
I really need to vote.
Yes.
But I'm going to share my ChatGPT thing real quick. Well, no, like somebody remind me to bring it up later because it actually pertains to planning because it's a good thing to bring up. I'm going to give 3 to Erica and it's obvious reasons. It's just I know how much work that is, and I know Erica goes way above and beyond when it comes to hosting. When every time you send me pictures of stuff for the smallest gatherings, I'm like, I wouldn't have done that much. And then David gets the other 3, just not pity, but more because David is so sick that they're not aware that they're still nerdy. And then they're here, even though I was like, oh, before the beginning of the show, like, really, like, for real, like, is it okay? It seems horrible. And he's like, no, nothing gives me greater joy than being on the podcast with my best friends. It's not what you said. I was going
to say, wait, I don't remember. I must be sicker than I thought.
I was paraphrasing.
It's because if David doesn't get on the podcast, he misses me too much.
Yep, that's 100% why.
If David doesn't get on the podcast, I don't know what to do because he's the solid always here except in April.
Sorry, I have kids.
Excuses.
It wasn't
excuses.
a dig, Erica. It was a compliment to David. It's the
Erica, Brian hates people with kids.
Yeah.
No, just Stolas, not Erica.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I deserve it.
Well, not Stolas, just Stolas' kid. No, I love her kids.
You can't ever say anything bad about kids.
I mean, I say it all the time. I love kids. I can never eat a whole one, though.
Erica won.
Oh my God.
Yay!
It's been a while.
It's been wow.
So, in job interviews all over the world, they often ask the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And usually in a job interview, they're pertaining specifically to, like, where do you see yourself in this company? We're not doing that.
You know who won What's Nerdy with You?
Erica.
Oh, Erica won. Okay, my bad. Okay, moving on.
Well, it's not Erica, but the friends we made along the way. It just sounded like we all won for participating in that.
Yay!
Erica's like, wait a minute.
No, God damn it, I won.
Okay, and scene.
Interview time.
So, in a job interview, they often ask the question, where you've been 5 years.
Don't say doing your wife. Don't say doing your wife. Don't say doing your wife.
I begged you to make that joke.
And now you ruined it.
Actually, I think the joke you were talking about before the podcast was doing with your mom or something like that.
Yeah, but then I remembered what the actual joke from Family Guy was. So.
Oh, we're going to be talking about planning and like envisioning and like where like that kind of like New Year's feeling, New Year's resolution, stuff like that. And we did kind of an interesting thing, and each of us is sort of in most of us are in different generations. And Paulbo is with us today, and Paulbo is a younger student.
One of those youths.
Yes.
Gen Z.
I wasn't going to ask where do you see yourself question.
Stolas, you can ask how old somebody is. It's rude, but he's Gen Z.
Oh, well, how old are you?
I'm 20.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them are youths.
Still a youngin.
Paulbo is not the youngest we have had on. That would be Lee.
No.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be Rowan.
Well, Rowan has not technically been a guest. Rowan is a pirate.
Okay, fair point.
Because when Rowan shows up on camera, it's like cannons fired.
And it's not planned, and it's always chaotic.
I thought I was the
He's
pirate.
a force
I
of
set my
nature.
pronouns and everything.
Rowan is a force of nature.
Yes.
I don't know how old Rowan is. That's how my almost 4-year-old nephew.
She's 7.
That child will. Okay.
She knows exactly what she wants, and she will burn down the house to get it. I swear to God. Like, I thought I was stubborn. I thought Brian was stubborn. Like, this kid is like a whole nother level.
Well, I mean, she's actually done property damage before to get to things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And gave me a concussion once, but that was an accident.
That sounds like my kid.
I don't think any parent can really say, like, I think every parent has the experience of their kid accidentally injuring them, usually seriously at some point.
Lee never injured me. Lee would be like, "Ooh, I think that's too dangerous. I don't want to do it." Rowan's like, "Danger? That's my middle name."
My son almost set the house on fire.
I mean, who
Yeah,
hasn't done that?
He went downstairs,
Yeah.
turned on the
Microwave.
stove. He turned on the stove and he like left the towel on the burner and the towel caught fire.
Rowan put metal in the microwave.
Oof.
I at one point lived with my brother in Boy Scout and kept matches in our bedroom. You can guess how that turned out.
Oh, no.
No.
Okay,
he ended up
but
with
we're
a
talking
hole in
about-
his yeah, sorry.
We've
moving
gone
on.
off the rails. We've gone off the
Way
rails.
off the rail.
Brian hates
Well,
it.
I'm gonna ask, and I don't hate it. It's like the premise of the fucking show, Erica.
Yeah, but you're
But I
always-
am gonna try to rein it in a little bit and say, hey, Paulbo,
So-
I don't want to do the like, where do you envision yourself type thing. I'm just kind of like, what's your like trajectory? Like, how do you feel about that? How do you work that out? Share as many or as little specifics as you want.
Well, I'm going to start by saying, so this is what it feels like to be in an episode. Because both
Yes.
of the episodes I've been on before, Erica wasn't here, and it just all over the place.
I told you it's a lot more fun when Erica's here, and I curse more.
Yes.
I will be somewhere, and hopefully I'll have a job. That's the plan for the next couple of years. We'll see how that goes.
You know, to be fair,
so-
seeing what's happening, what's coming up in the future, those are good goals to have.
And what field do you hope to be working in?
Yeah, so I am an aviation guy. My concentration aerospace management. So I am looking to manage an airport or something called an FBO, which is like that operates out of an. And so I work currently at a small. And the really interesting thing is every time I tell somebody that I'm like, oh, I work at an airport, and they're like, oh, it must be really busy, and I'm like, because we aren't a passenger, we don't handle the scheduled airline flight. We have flight training school and occasional business corporate jets flying. So I hope to land somewhere like small commercial airport, but I don't know yet. See, that is a lot of chaos to handle. But yeah.
And working at an airport, you have gotten some cool photos, and you want an opportunity
I've
to share
gotten a
those.
lot of cool photos. I'll absolutely share this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and pick a lot of.
This was Paulbo's like main motivation to want to be on the show.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh wow! So listeners who, first off, if you want to see these we're going to describe these best we can. But if you want to see these on video, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/nerdpodcastradio. But we are looking at what?
Wait.
Paulbo?
I want to explain it. I think it'd be a fun game to have somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about explain it.
It's a dildo with wings.
I love that.
It's
It's a
got
little
like
plane. It has about, I would say, maybe 12 rows, 2 little jets, and there's a pretty sunset behind it.
but the jets
So-
look like missile launchers.
Brian,
Yeah.
you actually just happened to perfectly sum up the aviation community's opinion of this particular type of plane. This is a Cessna Citation, also known colloquial as a slotation. This is your kind of like bog standard corporate jet, 2-engine. I don't know how many seats it has, DJ2, and it's just got a pretty sunset behind it.
It's funny. I was going to guess that it was a Cessna just because it's the only kind of private plane I know of.
When I used to work for Honeywell, I used to make heat transfer units and turbine air coolers for G5s.
You know what I realized? We have a few people in here right now that work with planes and airline stuff, and I'm like, dude, are we gonna end up in some like group or something of like airline nerds who are like, yo guys, check out this podcast, and then they talk about airplane shit.
I have a contact map for guests of the podcast, and there are interest lists that I keep track of just in case we have topics that apply. And
You had a plane person on. I'm surprised Anna's not here.
It was too soon to invite Anna. I didn't want to last minute Anna. Anna's been extremely busy. It's basically
Fair
like you
enough.
contact Anna and Anna's like, "Oh, I'm streaming with Ed Greenwood," and it's like, "Oh no, sorry."
Wow, she's not
Episode
even
then.
here, and you're name dropping for
We gotta do an airplane episode.
her. She's not even here, and you're name dropping for her. Well done, Brian. Well done.
I went to we've shown the outlines before.
enough.
I went to an air show with Anna, and Anna was identifying planes by what they sounded like. She was a jet pilot.
Yeah, people who have been in the industry long enough are absolutely sane with their aircraft recognition. I am so getting there. I'm getting better at it just as I see me.
I'm pretty good at it too. That's a plane.
So we got the dildo with wings. What do we got next?
Let's see.
Father-in-law was an Air Force pilot.
It's a shorter dildo with
Okay,
wings.
so actually, yeah, this
I
is
think-
also
I think-
a Cessna Citation, and
I
then the
think this
back
one's
is
Japanese.
in the back. I can't.
Is that a
Stupid
wind
file
sign?
name.
Is it a cover for its
Okay,
engine?
so
Yeah, that's an
so
engine
these
cover.
are the engines, and they cover up the engine to keep stuff. Especially on some of the older planes, if you have them uncovered, the wind will blow through and turn the turbine.
Oh, that's
just with
really
the force
bad.
of the wind.
Yeah, that's
and
really bad.
They don't like that. I mean, it theoretically it's fine on newer planes it is fine. On older planes it can wear them out and cause problems and potentially cause them to auto start. There are safety systems in place to prevent that, but you know. who knows
Oh,
if
okay. So I was
they're
thinking
actually
like
gonna work.
I was almost thinking like power supplies. Like if you start like you're not supposed to shoot like air through the fan of a power supply. 'Cause if you start kicking that fan on, you can accidentally like get your power supply to start working. So I thought maybe the turbines of plane might work similar.
So
Oh, I guess
propellers
it's kind
do
of like
work
a
like that,
stick
but
shift, right? Like a stick
yeah,
car. If
actually.
you move it
Um,
and then you start it, you're gone.
Which you might have actually seen videos, I'm sure, somewhere, like people, it's called hand propping a plane, where you take the propeller of the plane and spin it, and
That's how they used to
that
have to
can-
start them back in the day.
That's how they used to have to start older planes.
I mean, hell, we
Yeah.
used to have to start cars with a hand crank.
Yeah.
But this is a Cessna Citation. This is a Beechcraft B200. This is not the largest plane we've had, actually. This is one of the larger planes we've had. Maybe the largest jet, the Assault Falcon 50.
It's a little
Jet.
sexier looking than a Cessna.
I like this one. Yeah, I
That would
like this
definitely
one.
looks like a
This is
Japanese
really cool
dildo with
plane.
wings.
Yeah, it looks nice.
The thing I tell people about this plane is it's not a Falcon 50, but Taylor Swift flies it, her private Assault Falcon.
Ooh.
And so that's always
Oh,
everybody's
the
like,
good-
oh, okay.
You
Yeah,
you
we had the
jumped ahead and I got
Goodyear
excited.
It flew over, and you can see this little speck as a Citation. They just flew right through our airspace. They did not care. A couple of our planes actually had to divert 500 feet lower because they were in the traffic pattern. Goodyear blimp was just flying right through.
Oh my God.
I actually
This is
live
more-
not too far away from where the West Coast Goodyear blimp is homed.
No, this is more of a chode than like a normal dildo.
I grew up on Long Island. I used to see the Goodyear blimp all the time.
But this was it flying UK game. Just happened it was.
That's neat.
This
Oh no, I got it. It's an
was-
ornithopter from Dune.
It looks like a wasp.
This thing is called a gyrocopter. It was the weirdest little thing. This still to date is just one of the weirdest little aircraft I've ever taken. But yeah, it's just a little single-seater helicopter.
Does it
and
have the
this dude
same
flew in, took like
rules?
15 gallons and left. Yeah, all the same rules. Maybe not. It might be experimental.
It's not like an ultralight, is it? Because I know ultralights, you could like
It
land
might
them in a
be.
parking lot.
It would probably classify as an experimental, but it's gonna be held to most of the same like airspace rules, most of the same rules like when flying. The only difference experiment mate not.
So I can't even adequately describe it, but because it's crazy looking. But
It is.
did you happen to see it fly?
I did see it fly. I couldn't find the video. I actually got a video of it taken.
See, I think it looks like a robotic yellow jacket, but instead of it being yellow,
kind
It
of
does look like a wasp.
Okay, so the best
Looks
description
like
I
a
can give of this
pinwheel
aircraft,
connected to one of those little enclosed lay-down bicycles. That's what it looks to me.
it looks like it looks like literally just like a small tube that you could fit one person in with a helicopter blade attached to the top.
Whoever flies that thing has the biggest fucking balls ever. That's
Seriously.
I know people who fly airplanes already respect helicopter pilots, and then you see something like that, it's like, dear
Yeah.
God.
Yep.
Well, okay. I got something really funny to say. I was on social media. I think I was on Blue Sky, and somebody posted this thing this Reddit, of this subreddit, and apparently it was like a pilot like speed running Reddit. And apparently, I guess it's a bunch of pilot. It was this one pilot going like, "I beat the arrival time by 54 minutes. That's my best yet." And it's just a bunch of pilots speed running routes.
I think we have time for one or two more. So if you want to skip the
Yeah,
favorites,
I'm gonna choose the favorites. I will just say look up for viewers who are curious what this is like. Look up an auto gyro. That's what is called. I don't know if you can tell in the picture because it's kind of great. There's actually a propeller right he pushes. So this propeller like brings it up, and this is what.
oh, so it doesn't have just a tail prop. That's neat.
Yeah. So I'm gonna speed run through two or three and just some pictures, some covertly pretty. We get a lot of military
Holy shit.
aircraft in. Yeah.
I have to say, they're Blackhawks, right?
No, those are Apaches.
Those are
Apaches.
Apaches. Those are Apaches. They're the coolest looking things. I mean, I grew up with GI Joes. They're the coolest
They're
looking
pretty
things.
cool. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Speaking of Blackhawk, I was sitting at work the other day and we had a Blackhawk come and just do touch and goes. Like they would touch down on the runway and then take back off and do a loop in the pattern, and they did it 4 or 5 times. And I just sat out there that morning with my coffee and watched it.
So as the resident trans person, I have to make the joke.
Oh, you identify as an Apache
helicopter? You know what's the best response if someone says that to you? You just say, "Oh, well, thanks for letting me know that the only way for you to feel like your true self is to have 4 grown men inside of you."
This is called a Vision Jet. It is one of the jets.
That's so cool, dude.
This plane has an auto land feature and a parachute.
It's like if a Bugatti was an airplane.
Literally, yeah. And then these are my 2 favorite aircraft that have ever been in our air. This is a Sikorsky S61N. It is usually used. I have no idea what they use helicopter for. I have no idea why it was at our airport in rural bumfuck nowhere, Kentucky. But this is an aircraft that they use for like Coast Guard search and rescue types. And it is just and the picture really doesn't give it justice. I mean, you can see the person standing here. This is our 2,200 gallon. There's a 2,200 gallon tank on the back of this. And it's just by this helicopter.
That is so cool.
This is my favorite aircraft.
Oh.
This is the flagship Detroit. It is a Douglas DC-3. And I believe this one actually flew. I don't know if this specific one did.
Shiny.
These planes flew on D-Day. They flew bombing and parachutes on D-Day.
Cool.
And so this is one. I actually got to take a flight in that plane. Really, so this one was owned by American Airlines, and then once American Airlines got rid of it, this company took it and they now maintain it, fly it around the country. People to fly in and see and do exhibits. It is.
That does sound cool.
When we're done with the episode, when we do the bonus episode, Paulbo, remind me to show you. I brought it up, but we don't have time for me to share it here, but I'll share it during the bonus episode. I got a picture from an air show that I took that I want to show you.
Okay.
Paulbo, your person to ask a question to is David.
So I actually had a question in mind, and then I looked at the outline and I saw a different question, and I want to ask it because I think it's funny. So,
Sure.
What is it if there were an article in the newspaper or in the news about you in 5 years? What do you think it would?
Wait, could you repeat that? My partner was coughing, so I couldn't hear the question.
I asked if there was a newspaper article or news article about you in 5 years.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's really good. David's mind is just racing
I
right now.
have no idea. I'm not famous or anything, so why would anyone write a newspaper article about me?
Well, I have an answer, but it's a bad answer.
Were you going to say obituary stolus? Because that's the dark
I was like,
place
yeah,
my
it's not,
brain went.
it's not a good answer. I was like, it's not a good answer. There's a scary future for my kind coming up. So
I mean, if I was doing anything that would be worthy of writing an article about, it'd be probably something on the Paisio side about rebirthing Pathfinder First Edition in Society Play, because
that would be
Second
cool.
Edition sucks.
That is a great answer, David. That is a great answer. Own that, because I want to talk about that in 5 years.
Okay, yeah. Grant and I are trying to bring back the First Edition Renaissance, because so many people at the society events at the conventions I go to don't like Second Edition. And Second Edition Pathfinder Society is essentially dying because Second Edition is stagnated so badly.
let me know. I might want to do that. That sounds so fun.
February.
I'm mad with D&D.
February.
David, yours is Erica.
Oh, right. I have to ask a question, don't I?
We haven't done round robin in a while. That's cool.
This is actually great because at least on my screen, the cameras are actually in the round robin order. So it's Brian, then me, then David, Erica, and then Stoll at the bottom.
We can actually move them around to the order, but I never bothered to do that.
Well, because it would only do that for you. It doesn't
For
do
each
that for
person,
everybody.
like you can move them for you, but they won't move for me. We'd all have to do it.
Excuse me. Erica, do you think planning for something as far away as 5 years is important, or is it something more of just if it happens, it happens?
Oh, I'm a planner. I don't think anything gets done if you don't put enough effort behind it, and you have to do a bunch of little steps to get to the big things. Things don't just happen, you have to make them happen. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a planner. That's how I got through college, raising a kid by myself. That's how I, have moved up in the corporate world, and I am currently still working on things like this year. I am planning on getting to at least, I think it's B2 level in Spanish so that I can actually speak Spanish with people because I feel like that would be important for my job.
They allow if your job's like, oh, can you speak Spanish? Would they be okay? Like, do they allow you to put on your resume like, oh, I'm B2 and like Duolingo?
Yeah.
It counts? Oh, that's cool. Okay, good to know.
You can put anything on your resume you want.
Yeah.
I understand
I found
Spanish a lot better than I speak it.
I found out
So do I.
recently if
What were
you
you gonna
tell
say?
airline, I found out recently if you tell airline, specifically if you're applying to be a flight attendant, they speak another language, they will call you out and actually test you.
Yeah.
Makes
I've
sense.
got a friend that recently passed the test, he speaks German now.
Guten Tag.
Yeah.
Ich spreche sehr kleine Deutsch.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Most German I've learned from playing World War II video games.
And then I'm also working on some certifications for my job because my goal is in the next 5 years, I want to be a director of marketing. And so I have a goal and I have a mentor and I have steps and things that I want to do to get there. And so I'm going to get there. You've got to do all the little things before you can get to the big goals. So for me, it's super important.
I've heard directing's not all it's cracked up to be. You got to deal with producers and writers.
How many years did it take you to get your bachelor's? It was like 3.
Yeah, it was 3 years.
While being a full-time mom and working full-time.
Correct. I think
So you are made out of different stuff than
it takes most people 4+. So
I didn't finish school.
I'm still technically a freshman.
I'm struggling doing it in 3.5 and completely on my.
But okay, here's the thing I'll say. I feel like I have a pretty understandable reason why I didn't finish, though there really isn't a good reason why I haven't gone back yet. I didn't finish because, like, while I was in college, me and my ex-wife had our first son and he passed away. And it was really hard to continue, like, schooling. So I just kind of, like, dropped out at a certain point.
That's completely understandable.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to reevaluate.
But
I was around
so
back
many-
then, and I remember what that was like.
But it's been so long, it's like, I need to go back.
I'm just a terrible student, so I never finished college.
That's fair.
I remember when Erica was taking classes, I kept on thinking, how in the hell is she doing this? Because she had a social life too. She did stuff. It's like she did it. She did everything. I don't think you had great life balance back then, though. I don't think you were sleeping or anything.
Yeah, I wasn't. But, I had things I was going to do. And so I was going to do them. Nothing was going to keep me from doing them.
Right.
I can unironically say that
I get
Erica
that.
is a tiger mom.
Yeah, you sound bad.
I'm not like that with my kids.
No, what I mean by it is your main motivation for finishing school was your kids, and you went at it like a predator.
You
Yeah.
sound bad.
Yeah.
You
Well, I
sound
knew
bad.
I wasn't going to be able to get I wasn't going to be able to have and provide what I wanted to be able to provide for my children if I didn't finish college so that I could take that next step so that I could be, a breadwinner for my family. And to me, that was very important.
I am
I always-
going to tell you. Oh, go ahead, Paulbo.
I always like even when I was in high school, my thing is always just like if unless you have a specific career in mind and a degree will help you in that career, don't get a degree. And that's been driven home even more as I'm now an aviation student. And the thing about aviation, every single one of or almost all of my professors are 60, 70, 80-year-old retired military guys. They do not give a fuck about it. More often than not, I spend less than 15-minute actual class. And so I have learned no shade to my school. Anything I've learned about managing airports, I've learned from actually having a job at an airport. I've learned next to nothing from if I didn't have good enough grades in high school to get college for free, I would no shame to anybody who colleges out because sometimes a degree kind of
Yeah, I think it just depends. I will say from the flip side of this, as somebody that hires people, right? I
Yeah.
will say that I look for a degree, not because I think that you are going to know all the things that I want you to know right away. I assume that I'm going to teach you what I want you to know, right?
Yeah.
To do your job. What a degree says to me as somebody that hires people is that you can finish something you start. And to me, that
Right,
is
and that's
more
super
important.
important. Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
a big important thing.
Yeah. So even, and I'm not saying it has to be like a degree in the field that I'm hiring you for, right? It's just a degree. Or maybe it's not even
Yeah.
a college degree. Maybe it's vocational certificates. Maybe you did some journeyman work or whatever that looks like. You know, for me to hire you, it has to be related to what I'm hiring you for.
Yeah,
But
and
it's just
that's kind
showing
of the
you
advice
can
I've given.
complete something.
Yeah, that's kind of the advice I've given to people is like if you want to go get like whatever you get, it doesn't have to be a bachelor. If you want to go get an associate, go to a trade school. I lived up and grew up in a community, so I mean everybody I know is they're all calling trade job,
Yeah.
electrician, mechanic. They're more than I am. It's so
Oh, you can make great money blue collar work. The problem is your
oh
body.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like, what's your trade-off?
You'll
So
have plenty of money for the men.
yeah.
Erica, yours is Stolas.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, Stola. So when you think about the future,
Mhm.
what is it that gives you the most hope?
Oh, that's
Uh,
oh my God, that's the best person to ask that question to.
that's a good one.
I know. I've been thinking about it.
Oh, are you trying to make me cry?
Mhm.
We are muting for tears.
My year anniversary of being on hormones is coming up.
Nice.
So that's a big one. So like being in a year, it's kind of like the day to day, it's hard to notice changes. But like I've seen old pictures and I've seen some pictures. So like I saw a picture recently that my spouse took of me. And I was like, I'm definitely starting to see some changes that like in like the way the fat is distributed in my face and my body, that I'm already like feeling a lot happier with how I look. I'm still not like in a good place, but it's like in a less worse place. And
Oh,
then
yes. You missed the whole thing before the show. I'm going to be going on hormones too.
what? When did that happen?
Before we started this show, Erica goes, "Hey, you remember when we were younger and we'd get up in the middle of the night and our mom would be in her underwear with her head in the refrigerator?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I can relate to that now."
Oh no.
Why I have an ice pack right here on my chest. I'm getting hot flashes, like so
Oh
bad.
man, that's awful. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I've started the menopause journey.
I'm having the opposite problem. I'm feeling colder now than I used to. My
Yeah.
feet are cold now.
Yeah. So, but anyway, sorry to interrupt. I was just like,
No,
we're
that's so
binging on
funny. No, that's so
hormones.
funny. Oh, actually, speaking of that, today Grimm started testosterone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were waiting to like be able to, because they've always wanted to be able to like carry a child. And so now that
Yeah.
we have the baby, they're like, cool, I'm gonna start the hormones now too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So like
Congratulations.
they were waiting till they were done breastfeeding before they did that. So like they've been putting it on hold for a while for the baby.
Yeah. Well, at least the baby stopped breastfeeding before they were a year old because Rowan did it. She was almost 3 before she stopped.
This baby eats like she's not even a year old and she's already eating like full on solid food. Her favorite thing to eat is French fries.
Oh, yeah. Rowan was very much like, I want milk.
She just got really into eating food, so she just eats a lot of food.
Hey, there you go. There you go. So that gives
So,
you hope that seeing your body change.
so yeah, that and then yeah, talking to the surgical consult and being told, so like I got this phone call, they were trying to get a hold of me about like sending in the therapist letter. And so I sent that in to them, and I didn't hear back from them for a while. So I got a little worried because I was like, oh, maybe the therapist letter, maybe there was something wrong with it. And so I called them, and they were like, no, everything's fine. We're just waiting to call you for a surgery date. So like I could be going into surgery as soon as like next month to like start the like process. The way the surgeon likes to do things is he doesn't like doing things all at once. He likes to start working things piece at a time.
Hmm.
He's like that way your body can like heal like easier and like not so harshly.
Yeah.
So the first thing we're working on is the forehead area. That's probably the worst spot for me. So yeah, those things. I guess also seeing a lot of friends and family being supportive online, helps a lot too.
Yeah.
So yeah. What about you guys? What gives you hope?
Are you asking Bri?
Any of
I think
you?
you're just asking anybody who's willing to answer, right?
Yeah.
I'm always hopeful, and I don't really have specifics. I'm a convicted optimist, so it's hard for me to. I really don't have a cynical bone in my body. I have to try to look at things realistically, which I do. I do. So it's hard for me to look for specifics. I mean, I every freaking year I've had 100 miracles. I think the things that give me hope is that I'm constantly focusing on what I'm grateful for. So, but I mean, so thanks for asking. I guess I just continue to focus on that stuff.
My kids give me hope.
That's a good one.
I mean, to be honest, that's what it is. Like I have come to the conclusion that the amount of change that I wanted to happen during my lifetime isn't going to happen. And
Right.
that's okay because at some point my kids are going to be in charge and I know the people that they are. And I know that they are going to bring about a better world for everybody else. And I'm hoping it's not too late and the world doesn't, completely burn or completely freeze or anything like that. I hope it's not too late by the time that happens. So I have decided that my role is to simply support them in whatever endeavor they decide they want, 100%, and to be an old hippie lady and just enjoy my life. That's it.
Yeah, I feel that's actually a pretty good answer though. Like I feel like this is a problem that a lot of like people as they get older fall into, and I really appreciate that you're taking a very opposite approach. I feel like a lot of older people as they get older, not that you were really like older, but you get what I'm saying? Like I feel like a lot of people as they get older, I feel like they get this complex of needing to continue to be in charge, needing to continue to stir the direction of what's going to happen. And that's why like we see like not to get too political because I know we don't like to talk about it, but like that's why we see like so many old politicians because they're like trying to hold on to their ability to stir like society and culture and things like that. And I like that you're like, well, no, I had my time in the sun. I did the best I could. I pulled things in the way I felt. I pushed things when I felt it needed to be pushed. I spoke up when I needed to speak. I stayed quiet when I needed to stay quiet. But now it's like, that's done. That's not my time anymore. This new generation, it's their turn to start leading the conversation. And the best thing I could do now is like support them and like help them amplify their voice.
Exactly. It's
And
like
I think
it's
that's
no longer
super
my thing.
cool.
Yeah.
It's cool
Thanks.
mom. It's cool mom vibes. Cool mom vibes.
Everybody, I
I
keep thinking that a lot. Cool
I
mom.
want to share something real quick. We're talking about planning. I do want to say Erica kind of fucking blew my mind while she was talking about what gives her hope in her stuff because she said she just wants to be a hippie old lady. We're talking about planning.
Mhm.
Erica said this like 20 years ago
Mhm.
that's what she wants to be.
I reach a certain point. I've already started the process. So, like, my hair is the longest it's been in a long time. I usually have short hair, and my plan is to grow it out all the way down to my waist. And I'm going to have my hair in two really long gray braids. I'm not going to dye my hair anymore. And I'm just going to be that hippie old lady. That's my plan.
Have you ever seen that meme online of like the kid dressed in like Antifa like garb and the mom's like, okay, honey, just remember, stay safe, don't uncover your face, don't bring a cell phone, enjoy yourself. And I'm just the vibes I'm getting from you right now.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But there's one thing I would add to that. Act like you got some sense.
That would be a good one, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what my mother-in-law tells my kids all the time, and it's literally my favorite thing she says to them. She's like, "Okay, go have fun, and remember, act like you got some sense."
That's fantastic.
That's really good.
Stolas, you're up for me.
Okay.
And I think this will be our last question.
Ooh, this will be okay. I got a good one. Brian.
Did David dodge a bullet?
David got asked.
No, I got asked, and I asked you a question.
Yeah, that's
Brian.
been so quiet.
And Erica, and a few of your other friends. We're all married. We're all having kids. I guess the question is, Brian, in the future, what's like family planning look to you? Like, what kind of like family future stuff are you excited about? New house, new job opportunities.
There are things that are getting in the way, but we have discussed adoption. It might be something that come up in the future, but right now there are things that make it not really feasible.
Sorry if that was a sensitive topic.
No, it was a good question. It was a good question. I'm trying to avoid. I'm not at liberty to share all information, but
Right, that's fair.
I'll share the fun stuff though. I mean, we're right now we are at 6 fish tanks. The cockatoo, the 2 dogs and a cat. We are looking at getting 2 more kittens. We are looking at doing a bump out expansion to our house and moving stuff around. So the podcast studio will be somewhere else, but it will be in a more natural light area, which I think will be neat to experiment with. There is also, I think that's about it as far as like family lifestyle planning. We're trying to, since interest rates are so high, we need more space, but we're not really looking to move. So we're in the process of hiring a consultant to find us designers and contractors and stuff like that. So we can plan and come up with ideas that we haven't had.
I know how
And
you feel with that. Grim and I just came back from our Chicago trip because we were looking at the area because we're thinking in maybe a year, maybe we'll see, but we're thinking maybe we might want to move to Chicago and get a condo. But I understand you're worried about the interest rate things.
I mean, being a homeowner is like the greatest thing in the world, and we were incredibly fortunate and had right timing, and we were very blessed. And yes, Erica, there was probably some Brian luck involved because it was a weird situation as to how we got this house at the rate got it, but basically COVID gave us a house.
The correct answer is carefully.
The previous owners of the house didn't want to put the house on the market because they didn't want people walking through it and risking their kid. So they made a private deal with the realtor to offer it to another customer, to known buyers, and they just we took their counter offer to our first offer, and they ended up leaving like $15,000 on the table. We got a fantastic deal, and we got it right before the rates went up. So it was just pure wonderful.
Good.
It felt really good because we'd been kind of putting it off for a while and we were worried about it going wrong, and it went absolutely perfectly. We got a house we probably couldn't afford if it hadn't have happened.
That sounds like Brian luck to me.
Yeah, that's definitely Brian luck. I need some.
I got my house, like 2 years before that, before the market had bounced back at all. And we got our house at 15,000 below the market value because the lady desperately was trying to sell it. It had been on the market for 9 months.
I think you had similar luck to us.
Yeah, it did. It's been on the market 9 months. It's in a prime location. There was no reason for it other than the recession. It hadn't even been 10 years yet. Like it had not bounced back. People were not buying houses. So we bought it. And then during COVID, when all the interest rates dropped to 3%, we refinanced it. So now it's even
nice.
Yeah,
during that time was like the best time in a very long time to buy a house.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I said, we're looking at potentially going to like getting a condo in Chicago because I guess this is another thing I could like add to the what gives me hope thing. Like Grimm's doing really well at work. They're probably gonna get promoted to supervisor. So like they have a pretty good future of getting into management of like hotels. And Chicago like has a lot of really good rates for like front desk management and like office workers at like hotels for like hotels workers.
That's sweet. I would be remiss in sharing anything about the podcast. I want to answer the like where do you see like the like me with the podcast in 5 years, I see us having two.
What?
I see us having two podcasts in 5 years.
Explain.
We're gonna argue a bunch.
We keep on meeting all these fabulous guests. Over time, we have picked up so many regulars. At some point, there's going to be a spinoff. None of us might be on it, but yeah, I see that happening.
I
So
just
saying
think at some
Much
point
good
we
list.
would hand it over to like Lee and her friends. Like when we were like, okay, I think we're done with the podcast, we would just hand it over to the next generation of nerds.
I've actually been talking a lot about something with the podcast since we've been doing it for so long. The way we talk about things has changed so much as we've gotten older. And it's sort of like, I think one of the things that might happen in the future is we sort of reframe the mission of the show that will never not be a nerd culture show, but it's sort of like, it kind of has to as we all get older and have different priorities.
Why would my priorities change?
You're built different, as in short.
Yes, well, that's
I mean, I don't see myself being less nerdy in the future, that's for sure.
I don't think less nerdy. I think nerdy different. I know I'm nerdy different than I used to be.
Very different. That's very possible.
I mean,
Yeah.
hell, I'm not less nerdy. I went down a 2-day rabbit hole reading about subcultures, internet subcultures. I felt nerdier than I have in a long time.
I got one.
I understand why that was confusing. Why was everybody confused by that?
Do you know what the words are because you have a background in psychology?
Yeah.
That's why you weren't confused. There are things people don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a fact can was.
But like, so here's an example of like how nerdy things are changing for me. A little bit ago, I was getting super into like stuff about like Pokemon cards and Pokemon decks. My son likes Pokemon cards, and now I'm getting hit with nostalgia because I played Pokemon cards when I was a kid. So I'm getting all nostalgic about it. Like I've been watching YouTube videos of people opening Pokemon packs, but these are packs from like when I was a kid. Like I remember going to a card store and buying these packs. And people are opening these packs, and these things cost like $400 now. And they have cards in them worth like the down payment of a house.
You know what? We should probably do a video call sometime, Stolas, and you should look at the Pokemon cards I have. I have a giant box of Pokemon cards that are old.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Some of them are from like first sets from Japan.
Like as a collection, or do you just have them and you just have it like
I inherited them when my stepdad died.
You probably have some worth a lot of money.
He
did,
uses a
like,
couple of energy cards to throw them at the wall. To see if
when
he can get one to stick.
Pokemon was new, they were selling them on QVC, and he did like the crazy like dump all your money into it thing, thinking they were going to be like the first, because they were selling them saying like, imagine if you could buy the first issue of Superman when it came out.
Oh, good God.
But miraculously, I think some of them are very valuable.
No, David's like, oh, good God, but he's right. Okay, so like example, when I went to go see the first Pokemon
Let's
movie-
save it. Let's save it because we need to have a little bit of time for the bonus episode. But I just want to say, yeah, stuff is happening in the future. I mean, not to say that we're gonna have a spinoff, but that was sort of like the thing. Like when I was really thinking about the future of the podcast, I was like, probably it'll spin off at some point. But just what happens with communities.
No, we've been talking for a while about just having one where you and I just argue about stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we could just do episodes like that.
I was going to say, isn't that normally just the
podcast.
show when you two are on?
I would like to do one where we don't like, I wouldn't mind having a podcast, like being on a podcast that has a different mission and has like different things to talk about that like we try to avoid on this one. But
Oh my God, Stolas, did you hear what he just said?
I must have missed that. I was being distracted by my child.
I said that I would like to, well, bonus episode. Okay.
Oh no.
This has been a great episode. Thanks, Paulbo, for being here.
What did I
Super
miss?
Big and Brian, joined by David the Walt III, Stolas,
Bye.
Kersey Smurferica,
Bye.
and Paulbo Baggins.
Bye, Pablo.
Bye, Pablo.
Stay nerdy, stay informed, and stay awesome.
Awesome.
Stay awesome.
Thanks for listening to our nerd show. Podcast Radio.